Welcome to the Roche Ireland induction video. My name is Jerry Cahill and I'm the MD of the site here in Clarecastle. We take great pride in conducting our business in a manner designed to protect the health and safety of you, all personnel working on site, as well as those in the local community. We also have a proud record of achieving the highest standards of environmental performance and want to continue this into the future. So can I ask that you take a little time to diligently view this video and any other content to ensure your safety and the safety of your workmates. Thank you, and looking forward to working with you shortly.
Welcome to Roche, Ireland. The designated entry and exit to the site is beside the security building. A security swipe card will be issued by security after submitting all mandatory documentation and certificates such as manual handling, Safe Pass, online CIF, and online Roche induction video. The security swipe cards control the automatic barriers. The system allows the security to see who is present on site, which is vital in the case of a fire or an emergency evacuation. All visitors must report to the security building for security swipe card. If you lose or damage your swipe card, please report to the security building for replacement. Roche reserve the right to search any contractors and their vehicles upon entering or exiting the site. If you intend to remove any goods or materials off of the site, ask for permission and obtain a permit for the removal of the goods. Any passenger in the vehicle must get out of the vehicle and use the turnstile for entering and exiting the site. Only the driver is allowed to remain in the vehicle. Please note that the speed limit at all times on site is 15 kilometers per hour. All contractors and visitors should park their cars in the main car park located on the right-hand side as you drive to the security building. On site, there is a certain level of pedestrian traffic between various plants and offices. Pedestrians always take priority over vehicular traffic and must be given the right of way. Pedestrians must adhere to the footpaths and designated walkways. You need to be aware of your own safety and keep an eye on plant operators, heavy equipment, and construction equipment. In the case of an emergency evacuation and you hear the continuous tone alarm, please go to the designated assembly point, which is located just before the security building on the right-hand side as you exit. Please use footpaths and walkways when evacuating the plant. Once you arrive at the designated assembly point, you need to scan your card at either of the two reader points, which will record you as being in the safe area and allow the security to see who hasn't swiped yet at the assembly points. Please wait in the safe area for further instructions. Smoking on site is only permitted in special designated areas. Smoking in any other area is strictly prohibited. While on site, there is a mandatory requirement for wearing the following PPE: high-vis, hard hat, eye protection, safety boots, gloves, plus any specific PPE identified for the works you will carry out.
Environmental compliance at the Clarecastle Roche site is taken very seriously, and it is everyone's responsibility. The site is in an environmentally sensitive area with the River Fergus and a special area of conservation located immediately to the east. The site operates under the strict conditions of an EPA-issued industrial emissions license and an environmental policy which sets out our commitment to achieve the highest standards in relation to environmental compliance. The EPA license outlines strict enforceable limits in regard to emissions from the site. On site, there is a dedicated team that monitors compliance, and the EPA can arrive on site for an inspection at any time.
All companies must ensure their activities do not interfere with the stormwater system and ensure that drains near their work areas are not contaminated. The stormwater is discharged into the river and it is therefore continuously monitored for quality. If at any time the levels are outside the allowable limits, the pump out will stop. We can lower our impact on the environment by always using the correct bins for waste, protect surfaces from any spills, and store chemicals in the correct containers. If there is any spill, please use the spill kit and clean up the spill to prevent any hazards.
Waste is strictly managed on site. All waste must be clearly labeled and appropriately segregated. No waste can leave site unless correctly classified, packaged, labeled, and all waste movements have to be notified to the FMC Waste Coordinator. Around the site you will see groundwater monitoring wells. Please take care when working in close proximity to these wells to ensure there is no damage caused to these key pieces of infrastructure.
The EPA license enforces noise limits at sensitive locations around the site. Due to the close proximity to local residents, we would ask all contractors to be mindful of creating high noise levels, especially in areas close to Key Road and Clare Hill. If any work is to take place using noisy equipment, please ask your supervisor to arrange for noise monitoring to be carried out to ensure we are in compliance with the license limits.
Members of the public can make complaints directly to the site or to the EPA, who will initiate an investigation. The environmental management company, Verdi, will inform the EPA of any exceedances on site. It is important we all work together to ensure we maintain compliance with the industrial emissions license and ensure a good relationship with our neighbours and authorities.
In certain situations, you will require a permit to carry out works, and your permit to work will be issued by your site contact or by your nominated permit issuer. Some of the works where you do require a permit to work are grinding, working with electricity, low and high voltage, working at heights, confined spaces, and excavations. Working at heights always presents a risk if you need to use ladders, mobile elevated work platforms, or mobile scaffolding towers, so you must have the right controls in place and full protection equipment. No scaffolding should be assembled, erected, or dismantled unless supervised by a scaffolding specialist. Scaff tag should always be displayed and must be in date before using the scaffolding. If your task involves lifting, your company should provide the appropriate lifting equipment and must be accompanied by a lifting equipment compliant inspection certificate. Lifting or slinging operations must be planned and approved by the site management. Use of cranes will require a specific lift plan before works begin. Always take care with confined space access and works, ensuring your work and equipment doesn't interfere with any other contractors. Ensure you are trained to the required standards and that you have your confined spaces permit completed prior to commencing any works. When working in confined spaces, you must be accompanied with the right safety monitoring equipment. Take note of any excavation works and ensure your work doesn't interfere with it. Never carry out any excavation works unless you have identified any risks and have taken steps to prevent injuries from underground cables or services. Assess all excavation for the risk of collapse and use a trench support system. Always provide suitable access to keep vehicles away to prevent collapse or exposure to exhaust fumes. The excavation must be inspected by a competent person before anyone is allowed to enter the area. As a minimum, an inspection must be carried out weekly and a statutory approval form of inspection completed. Water can represent several hazards around the site, so if you are working over or near water, you will need to have a risk assessment done prior to any works. Hazardous areas that are classified as control of major accident hazards or dangerous substances and explosive atmosphere regulations have specific rules and regulations. Management will provide you with details and information on where the high-risk areas are, what safety precautions are required, and what to do in the event of an emergency. An extremely dangerous hazard is asbestos. If you encounter materials you think may be asbestos, stop working immediately and report to your supervisor on site so they can carry out a thorough investigation. Please remember that if you have been prescribed any medication that could have side effects, do not forget to notify your employer so as to avoid any duties or activities that could put you at increased risk. All portable equipment and associated leads must be clearly labeled with portable appliance testing, showing the last test and the next test due. Battery-powered equipment is preferred, but if not possible, 110 AC equipment can be used on site. When using mains-powered electric equipment, the lead should not be laid on the ground or through doorways as it may be causing a trip hazard. Please run electric leads overhead where possible and secure appropriately. Always follow good housekeeping standards to keep your area free from clutter and hazards to help you and others stay safe. Any accidents, incidents, or near misses that happen while you are on site must be reported to management and recorded. Please adhere to the current government guidelines pertaining to COVID-19. Hand hygiene has a huge role to play in your own safety and the safety of the people around you. Good hand hygiene will prevent the spread of infection. For everyone's safety, please use hand sanitizer provided or hand washing station at site entrance every time you pass by. The video section has now ended. Thank you for taking the time to watch Clare Castle Demolition and Deconstruction Induction. We now move to the questionnaire section, where there will be a few questions. You must answer correctly in order to get your CCDD certificate. Please note that without this certificate, you are not allowed on site.